Today I am going to explain you about the rendering of geometrical solids, the basic geometrical solids. We have to imagine source of light, and first we need to make the clear sketch or drawing. Basically this is a cube what I am going to draw right in front of you. Right now I am using 2B pencil, and my source of light is from right side. Approximately 45-degree angle is followed by me. This technique is known as the Hitching technique. I am using 2B pencil. I am trying to maintain equal amount of pressure on pencil. This is known as single hatching. The strokes are mild, not very hard or harsh. Slowly I am adding the strokes. As my source of light is from the right side, so I am trying to make this particular plane darkest. Here I am going to use the darkest value. Now I have started with the second layer of strokes. Now this is known as cross hatching. Earlier that was single hatching, but now this is known as cross hatching. Slowly, gradually I am adding the strokes. I am trying to make it dark with the help of 2B pencil only. Now adding more strokes on top of these strokes. Trying to maintain equal amount of pressure on pencil. Light is not approaching to this particular area, but somehow this particular plane is going to be lighter than the first plane, because some part of light is approaching to this particular part. So here we are going to use the middle tones. Still I am following the single hatching. I am not going to add any stroke on the on the upper plane. Again adding more strokes. Still using 2B pencil. We need to make changes in the direction of the strokes. Now we started getting darker value because of the layers generated with the help of strokes. This technique is known as the Hitching technique. I am repeating it. Cross hatching. The easiest way of rendering is this. This type of rendering is equally important in terms of Nata exam, in terms of Nift NID exams, and equally important in terms of VFA entrance, means the College of Art, Jamia, MS University, Baroda's Fine Arts College. Still following the single hatching. Here I am not following the cross hatching. These are the single strokes, but I am trying to make it a bit darker because here we require the middle tone. Easiest and fastest way of rendering is this. Now my source of light is from here and approximately the angle is at 45 degree. So I am going to generate cast shadow here. Now again following the mild strokes to generate the cast shadow. It depends upon the angle of light. If light is falling from the top, you are going to have less shadow, cast shadow. If source of light is placed at 60 degree or more than 45 degree, then you are going to have elongated shadow. I am talking about the cast shadow. This is known as cast shadow. Now I am adding more strokes because light is not approaching to this area. That's why we have to make it dark, or you can say the darkest value we need to add on this particular area of the cube. So my cube is almost ready. With the help of hatching technique, I have generated 3-dimensional effect on 2-dimensional surface. I am going to guide you about the rendering of a sphere, how to make a sphere. First, make a circle. Use 2B pencil only. 2B is a user-friendly pencil. It is always better to use a 2B, mainly for the beginners. It's really a helpful tool. So make a freehand circle. Practice with your drawing skills as well as your rendering skills. Again, I am going to add strokes following the hatching technique. Now, this is a spherical thing, means the circular thing. We are going to create a sphere. That's why I am adding semicircular strokes. Right now, this is single hatching. Still, I am using 2B pencil. And again, I have imagined that my source of light is from right side. Light is falling on this particular sphere from the right side. Started adding strokes, but these are the semicircular strokes. I am holding pencil very lightly in my hand. Still this is single hatching. Very little pressure is maintained on the pencil. That's why we are getting light strokes. Now I started adding strokes on top of these strokes. Now we have started with cross hatching. While dealing with shading or rendering, we need to merge the outlines. There is no importance of outline because we are going to generate the three-dimensional effect with the help of light and shade. So now I have started merging the outline along with the strokes. It requires practice, and it's all about learning by experiments. As our source of light is from right side, we need to make this particular area dark. Here we need to add the darkest value, not only the darkest value we need to add, but slowly, gradually, layer by layer, we have to make it dark. Still I am following strokes, I am merging the strokes. Technique is known as the hatching technique, cross hatching, and our pencil is the 2B pencil. If you wanted to add more darker values, then you have to use 4B pencil on top of these strokes, but it totally depends upon the requirement. Sometimes 2B pencil works well, sometimes you don't require to use 4B or 6B pencils, but whenever there is requirement, you have to use 4B and 6B pencils to create more darker values. Now this area is getting darker. Now I am started pressing my pencil. I have started my pressing my pencil on this particular area because we require darker value here. That's why we need to build more pressure on our pencil. But here again I am trying to merge the stroke with mild strokes because here we need to maintain middle values or the middle tones. This process is a time-saving process, but practice is required. Smooth shading is different from this particular treatment. So I will guide you. I will create some specimens with smooth strokes also. That technique is different from the hatching technique. So here we have to create the cast shadow. As our source of light is from the right side, that's why we need to create the cast shadow on the left side of this sphere. Avoid smudging with fingers, with cotton, because smudging is not allowed in the exam. You are going to lose your marks. So avoid smudging. Follow layer by layer color application technique, or follow this Hitching technique or smooth shading. So this is an example. Now another geometrical solid is ready right in front of you. This is known as sphere. Now I'm going to show you this way of shading. This is known as the smooth shading or smooth rendering. Instead of following strokes, we have to add the color in a very smooth way. I'm trying to generate a blur effect. We have to mix color slowly, gradually. Again, we need to follow the layer by layer color application. Now the strokes are not visible. You are going to get the velvet touch. Lots of patience is required and lots of practice is also required, but it's not difficult. Practice all the techniques. Try to improve your drawing skills as well as your rendering skills. As I already discussed in my previous videos, these rendering techniques are equally important in terms of NID, Nift, Nata exam, and it's important for the College of Art, means the Fine Arts, BFA entrance exam also. So take each and every step seriously. Right now I'm using 2B pencil. This pencil is a user-friendly pencil. This pencil is not very soft, not very hard. If we require, then definitely use the 4B pencil or 6B pencil to generate more darker values on the darker side of this sphere. This particular technique is time taking. Have patience while following this technique. Now look at the effect. Darkest value is maintained on the left side. Now the proper effect of sphere is generated with the help of this smooth way of rendering. Color is properly merged. Right now I am using 2B only. Here we have the middle tones. Approximately all the 9 values are maintained: darkest, dark, middle, and lightest value. To avoid patches in this particular treatment, maintain equal amount of pressure on your pencil. Do not vary the pressure while adding the color. If pressure varies, then you are going to get the patches. So need to avoid patches because neatness in coloring is very much important. Now this is the cast shadow what I am going to generate right here. I just wanted to show this sphere hanged in the air rather than balanced on the surface. This effect is generated because the object is away from the cast shadow, so seems like hanged in the air. So this is an example of smooth shading